What's up, everybody out there, and welcome to another edition of Field Vision. Of course, brought to you by War Room Sports and Sports Kings. I'm one of your hosts, Devin, and I'm here with a full round table this evening. I got my man B. Austin from War Room Sports.
Yo, shout out to your moms.
Frank, Sports Kings.
Lost in Reggie Bush's resurgence is the fact that the Kardashian curse can be hexed. Look out for Miles Austin.
Yo, you seen her butt cheek?
We got my man Fred from HeavyInTheGames.com.
I lost a bet, so I got to do this, but I still think it's all about
We got Jim, Sports Kings.
Mike Tomlin 316 says we can't whip anyone's ass.
Got my partner Jimmy, War Room Sports.
Yo, any man who cuts his beard for a woman deserves neither.
We got Justin from the Sports Kings.
I was going to shout out the Bucks and their collapse, but even they didn't give up 7.
Wow.
Nick Montana in the house. Speaking of 7 touchdowns, let's get right into it. Let's talk about Nick Foles, quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. He had a 7-touchdown day, only the 7th player in NFL history to do so. Had a perfect rating on the day. Led the Eagles over Justin's Raiders and pretty good blowout. However, I don't know if you guys have been following, social media, just keeping in touch with what the fans are doing. I've never seen somebody throw 7 touchdowns in a game and get as much disrespect as Nick Foles has gotten this week. Eagles fans are still calling for Mike Vick. I don't really understand it. Anybody care to try to explain?
I'm going to let one of y'all go because I'm going to say some controversial things. But before
Well, no, I'm not going to say anything controversial. I just know that Michael Vick is one of the most...
Well, that's from Nick Foles, man.
Yeah, Dev, to your point, you may not have heard anyone get slandered that much because people just don't throw 7 touchdowns that often. But that being said, Michael Vick is one of the most polarizing athletes in the history of sports. His fan base is longer than Broad Street itself. And it doesn't matter if Nick Foles would have thrown 24 touchdowns against Jesus and his disciples. People still would have been calling for Mike Vick to play. It just is what it is.
Mike Vick as a person, dogfighting aside, he seems like a good dude. I don't understand what fans actually see in him to, because I'm of the thought where I'm not sold on Nick Foles as an Eagles fan, but I see the upside in Nick Foles. I see the potential in Nick Foles. So I don't understand why fans. I don't see what they see in Mike Vick and why they don't want to just move on and allow this young quarterback to get some time under his belt to see if he is indeed what he's showing flashes of. I don't really get it.
It's because he's Mike Vick. Mike Vick's fan base. Mike
Stan base.
Yeah.
You call it a fan base, whatever you want. It was crafted by Nike when he came in the league. Virginia Tech, he was the most exciting player in college football. So Mike Vick has a fan base that has been riding with him for years. So it kind of it doesn't matter what Nick Foles does. If Nick Foles goes out this week and has another tremendous game, people still be calling for Mike Vick. I'm not one of those people, but I just.
But what did he do in Dallas? That's what I keep hearing. What did he do against Dallas?
I think
Go ahead, Jim.
Eventually, if he keeps winning and playing well, it's going to win the fan base over because they want wins more than anything. But if anything, that performance showed that he should get a chance to keep playing and see what he can actually do because you can't just keep the ceiling on him and not let him evolve. Because what if he really is that good? He just needs to grow a little bit more. You're going to miss out on a great quarterback just because.
I agree.
I got to say, the fans are I don't understand what they see a lot of times.
Idiots.
You don't throw 7 touchdowns by accident in the NFL. Michael Vick, I've never been a fan. He's an exciting player, yeah. He's kind of like a Blake Griffin. He makes a lot of highlights. When it comes down to having to throw the football, having to read the field, wouldn't take him, wouldn't touch him. But the fans are gonna take what they're gonna go with who they ride for, and that's Michael Vick. That's what they know.
The average fan only watches highlights. So
exactly.
That's the exact point I was gonna make.
I'm gonna say that the 7 of us here on this panel know a little bit more about football than your average fan. I'm going to give us that much credit, and so we look for the nuances of the game, and we understand Michael Vick's deficiencies. He's an exciting player. He comes in and his supporters talk about how great he is of an athlete, how strong his arm is, how beautiful his deep ball is, and how fast he runs. But if you notice, there's never a quarterback in the history of quarterbacking that, has won a championship on his legs or with people celebrating how fast he runs. So that being said, let's keep it 100 and 1. Right. The fan base that celebrates Michael Vick are those that enjoy seeing highlights and athleticism, and there's a little bit of the racial divide that becomes evident. You see a lot of black folks that support Michael Vick that are excited to see him in a position of being an NFL quarterback. He sucks. He sucks as a quarterback, and it's time to be real.
One full season.
It's time to be real with what it is. He's definitely a valiant player. He'll take 1,001 hits a game, but he's not intelligent. He's not smart with the ball. He holds the ball too long, and ends up putting his team in a position where they can't efficiently and effectively run offense and win games. Nick Foles, I don't know what Nick Foles is yet, but I do know that he's 6'6". He sees the field well. He makes snap decisions. He's accurate, and he's got a hand cannon. Now, will that translate into him being the savior of my Philadelphia Eagles? I have no idea. I have no clue. But I'm happy with what I saw, and I need to see at least an additional 10 to 16 games of game film on Nick Foles. Mike Vick is 33 years old. It's done. He's averaged 2,027 yards a season over his 10-year career. He averages 12 touchdowns and I believe 9 interceptions. That's not an NFL starting quarterback. That's not what that is.
That's the deciding factor, I think. The fact that Mike Vick is 33 years old, it's not like you have these two guys competing and they're both young guys and you don't know what's going to happen. Mike Vick's 33. We know what he is. He's Mike Vick. He's always been the fragile guy that can't make reads. That's who he's always been. It's who he always will be. With Nick Foles, with enough development, he might become something that he's not even right now. And I think to speak on the performance, the only thing that he loses a little, people lose a little bit of credit for is that it wasn't a blowout. So, the 6th and 7th touchdown, it's are we sure that the Raiders were even trying still? No offense, Justin. But, when you're getting blown out 42-10, are you just kind of counting the minutes until the game's over?
The Raiders' defense wasn't.
What about the Michael Vick story?
No, we had a top 10 defense. My thing with Napoleon is he's completing 62.7% of his passes. He has 13 touchdowns, higher than Mike Vick's career average, and 0 interceptions. That dude takes care of the ball, and his release is insane. He gets rid of the ball so quick. The Raiders do have a decent pass rush. We talked about it several times this year. They could not get to him before he let go of that ball. He is quick. He's reading everything. A lot of this was throwing balls downfield. It was insane. I'm a believer in him. He put up 7 against what I consider a decent defense. But
they went to the game as the number 9 defense in the league. Whatever that means.
What are they now?
They may have dropped to 11. All right, so I've basically been speaking to fans, particularly Eagles fans, the whole week, and it seems like not a lot of people are impressed. Nobody cares. They just want their Mike Vick back. And I really don't understand what it is that they see.
How aren't you impressed?
And, they see the Michael Vick experience, man. I'm telling you.
And Frank and B. Austin made the point that I always start the argument with. I'm like, okay, put Nick Foles, his numbers aside for this season and say these two quarterbacks were doing the exact same thing. One is 24, one is 33. All things equal, go with the younger guy, even if you don't think Nick Foles is better than Mike Vick.
All things aren't equal.
You're right.
No, I'm not saying they are, B. Austin, but just to make a point for those people, you make the playing field equal, and it's still a no-brainer. So
here's the difference. One of those guys is named Mike Vick. That's the big difference. The Michael Vick experience, man. His name holds weight. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying I know what it is from talking to fans. You know how excited they were when Vick was coming to Philly? Vick is one of the most popular athletes in all of sports. So it
Donovan
doesn't matter.
McNabb lost his job when Michael Vick got there.
Yo,
That's what I'm saying.
You're
What I'm
exactly
saying is,
right, Fred. And you know what's funny, man?
Vick can
I
have
like
16
Mike Vick.
picks right now, but he's still Michael Vick. His name
And
holds weight
also,
with
I have to say
with the fans.
with that too, Michael Vick is kind of in that same boat as a Tim Tebow and whoever makes plays and the fans love. They'll ride for that player just because they have some sort of a connection with that person. Tim Tebow was never a great quarterback, but because he's a nice guy, he is a Christian. If you change Tim Tebow's name to Tim Smith and said, "Don't look at his face, look at his game," you would never want him as your quarterback.
Yeah, all I gotta say is, if you have the type of fan base that's gonna survive you throwing dogs against the wall and electrocuting them, and they still stay around, that's a fan base. Like, that's loyalty to the straight.
I'm not touching that. And Frank is gonna take a beating in the comment section over that one.
And what trips me out even more is, for Michael Vick, you have a guy that has not really done much. And for Philly fans, you guys are the people that are they destroy players. That's where players go to die sometimes. Their personalities. And I mean, from whatever sport, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, whatever, the fans are. I mean, Nabi Asamoah, for example. They destroy him. I mean, Philly fans destroy their players.
What Jimmy said holds a lot of weight, because that's how a lot of people are destroying Nick Foles, and they seem to forget that he's like 1.5 years in, and people are saying, well, only thing he's proven to me is he's an adequate backup. Like, I hear people say stuff like that.
That's only because it's Vick. Like, if he was replacing like Bobby Hoying, it wouldn't be this
He'd be
issue.
the greatest thing since
Exactly.
Yeah,
He would be, because but this is another reason. This is another reason, Dev, why you should have never brought him back to begin with. You need to move away from that. Just get rid of it, because it becomes a distraction. It's sort of like Fred said with the whole Tebow thing.
Beyonce, make your last point on this. Make your last point on this, Beyonce, and we can move on.
The thing with Vick is he's crying right now.
Crying for Michael Vick, man.
He's heard what I've said about Mike Vick. He's the fans of Philadelphia, particularly a certain segment of fan, can relate to him, relate to where he comes from, relate to his story. He's a bottom to the top type of guy. I get all that. But I don't care, man. It's time to win. I'm tired of mediocrity, man. Nick Foles is my guy. I want to see for the next 16 games.
You can relate. Everybody in this room can relate to Michael Vick.
Absolutely.
None of us can throw NFL passes, I'm pretty sure.
I'm nice at what I do.
I'm killing
Nick Foles, man. We want to see you, man. Yeah, that was funny. For 7 touchdowns.
Hey.
Y'all are killing Mike Vick. Damn.
I won the punt, pass, and kick when I was 12.
Hey, well, my quarterback was a 6th-round pick. I'm just saying.
Oh,
my quarterback was a 6th-round pick.
Yo, this argument has nothing to do with Brady. Like,
all right, but look. Let's go to.
I have no sympathy for Michael Vick.
Let's go to another 1st-round pick. Aaron Rodgers.
How long have you been a Pats
small
fan?
Fracture in his collarbone.
What's that?
Uh-oh.
Whoa! How long have I been a Pats fan? Oh.
Yeah, you heard me.
The Drew Brees days, losing the Super Bowl,
years?
that hurt.
15 minutes?
No.
Snyder has started. Yo,
let's talk about.
Let's get back on track. Let's talk about
Aaron Rodgers. They haven't given out any solid numbers yet, but they're looking at him possibly being out up to about
4 to 6.
Yeah.
4 to 6.
And that can be nothing but trouble, in my opinion, for the Green Bay Packers. What effect do you guys think, one, that this has on the Packers, and then what effect do you think it has on the NFC North altogether?
Well, for one of my fantasy teams is just completely dead because I have no other quarterback on the team but Aaron Rodgers. So rest in peace to that team. I think it's going to change the entire complexion of the division. That Bears and Lions game becomes even more important this week.
It became a bigger game.
Yeah, it became a bigger game, and I think it can. I mean, to me, no disrespect to anybody, but as of right now, I thought he was the best quarterback in football, bar none. I mean,
yeah.
What's B. Austin
Shut
called?
that shit up.
Damn.
Family show, yeah.
Woo. But anyway, what I'm saying is I thought he was the best quarterback in football. I mean, and this is coming from a guy who Peyton Manning's my team's quarterback. Tom Brady's one of my favorites, but the way Aaron Rodgers is playing football over the last couple of years, I think he is the best.
You know me, Jimmy. I was an Aaron Rodgers stan before it was cool.
As am I.
Before it was good.
As am I.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
how
what
does he like that,
what
dude?
he does on the football field is amazing. So to see him, I mean, he's the best player in that whole division. You know, maybe Adrian Peterson, but it's going to change that entire complexion of the division. So now I think the Lions will step up because I just don't believe in the Bears. But the Packers are definitely in trouble. They might as well start preparing for next season.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think the Packers are done without Aaron Rodgers for 4 to 6 weeks. And that's actually, I like Seneca Wallace. He reminds me of Jason Campbell.
Why?
He reminds me of Jason Campbell a lot.
So that means you like Jason Campbell then?
I like Jason Campbell. I said that last week.
Again, why?
Jason Campbell can't close his mouth.
Yo, Jason Campbell was the best quarterback on the Browns this year so far.
That ain't
not saying
hard
much.
to say in
That's
there.
not saying much.
Hard to be in there.
He's the best quarterback on the Browns. The Browns
I mean,
moved on.
he's no Michael Vick, but he's all right.
Jason Campbell also can't stay on one team for more than about a year and a half.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
Like
not
he's
his
never
fault.
gotten a fair shake. You know what I mean? I think Seneca Wallace is the same thing. I think Seneca Wallace is the kind of guy you can
he
put
did
some
get a
stuff
fair
in the
shake in
playbook.
Oakland.
But do you guys think that they're just totally dead right now?
Yeah, that's
They're
what
not
I'm saying. It's
I
not.
don't think
They're not totally dead.
No, they're
but
dead.
I
Yo,
also
they're
think,
dead.
I mean, but
Yeah.
Jimmy, if you look at like an Eddie Lacy, this is the first time in a long time that they had a legitimate running back where the offense had some kind of a balance. So it's like
learning
How
curve.
many yards does he average?
think about
carry?
it.
He got his first 100-yard game. He gets 46
Nothing.
carries a game.
Listen,
but all I'm saying is,
I'm not
they're dead.
disagreeing that they're in trouble, but think about Aaron Rodgers getting hurt now versus any other time. At least now they have something
yeah,
that they
but
can
here's
fall
the thing.
back on.
Eddie Lacy, the reason Eddie Lacy's able to get that is because they were so worried about Aaron Rodgers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now you don't even have the threat of the pass, so they're going to stack the line of scrimmage. Seneca Wallace is no better than having Fred Purdue at quarterback. And to be honest, that's no disrespect. I think, Fred, you might be better than Seneca Wallace. But with that being said, it's like, yo, to me, Aaron Rodgers was their best offensive player and their best defensive player. I mean, that's how good he was.
I just have to say about the NFL, can we learn to develop a backup quarterback? The teams
You can't develop a starting quarterback. You want to develop two?
I mean, because simply put, when you have teams, and I hate to go back to the Patriots, but when you have a guy like a Matt Castle who can step into a system, as well as you can put a guy on any team, you can put a guy in there that can just come in and win games.
If Brady gets hurt now, who's your quarterback?
Ryan Mallett.
Exactly.
And you're okay with that?
Am I okay with Ryan Mallett with this team? No.
But that's my point. My point is there's not too many great starting quarterbacks. It's going to be difficult to develop two.
Yeah, they're like, no, the Packers are dead. They're like, I think the calling hours just came out for them, actually, as we were talking about.
I think their first call should have been to probably not Matt Flynn, but maybe Matt Flynn. Simply put, he knows the offense at least, that he's halfway capable of playing. I just think with him, it's going to have to come down to you're going to have to throw the football at some point, and Seneca Wallace can't do that.
Call all the Undertakers, get the body bags out.
It really doesn't matter who their backup quarterback is, in my opinion. That's how good Aaron Rodgers is.
I kind of hate that.
Unless Peyton Manning is your backup quarterback, and he's going to come in and start the offense, Aaron Rodgers is that. He carries that team. They're 5-3. Without Aaron Rodgers, that's a 2-6 team right now.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't know whether Eddie Lacy is going to end up being a primetime back in the NFL. I think that he's good, but it's too much to ask a rookie to really carry that type of load.
Yo,
and
what's the
I think
Vikings
that
record right now?
I think he benefits from
2-6.
Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
I think he's a talented back, but he's not ready to step in and be
the Adrian Peterson type. No.
Yo,
Right.
Adrian Peterson and them are 2-6. You know why?
No, actually, I think they're 1-7.
They're 1-7.
Yeah, they're
they're not even
1-7. Okay,
2-6.
that's even worse. You know why they're 1-7? Because they got Seneca Wallace at quarterback.
Well, and Green Bay doesn't really have the type of defense to play those grinded out games either. If you're going to try to run it and
the defense is
and grind out those games, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Well, to the Matt Flynn point that Fred was making, I usually hate that cliche that he knows the offense, but I don't mind it there because he was actually there not too long ago, but people use that way too much. Like a dude,
usually it is.
Dude would have left the place like 6 years ago, and they're talking about how he knows the offense. Like,
and ultimately losing when you have your so-called offensive coordinator, because we all know it's Mike McCarthy's offense. So,
like Eagles fans right now talking about bring Dennis Dixon back because he knows the offense. He hadn't played with Chip Kelly in 6 years since.
Somebody said that.
Yeah, people said that.
Yes,
Jimmy, go to some Eagles forums and see the madness that they're saying. Somebody asked for Tyrod Taylor.
Yo.
I ain't even gonna lie. We've said a lot of jokes on here about who is a better quarterback out of us and certain folks in the NFL. There is someone on this panel that is better than Dennis Dixon.
Ooh.
Dennis Dixon.
I won the pump pass kick when I was 12. I could bomb it.
I'm like, I'm nice with it. Pump, pass, and kick.
I got you. Yeah,
but listen, everybody.
Number one, baby.
Real quick, while we're on the Packers. Eagles, Giants, Vikings, Lions, Falcons. That's their next 5 games. No hope in this team staying afloat until A-Rod comes back.
I think with that schedule, I think they can manage it. They can manage it.
What's their record now? Like how?
They're 5-3 right now.
They're 5. No.
Yeah, but they're tied, 3-way tie for first place.
Yeah. If they were like 7-1 maybe, but no. 5.
So if they had a little bit of a lead in the division, then there may be a different story. I
still think they would lose, but it'd be we give them a more heavy. Because think about it, Adrian Peterson is twice the player that he isn't. 3 times the player that Lacey is, and they're 1-7 because of the same situation. And their defense might be better than Green Bay's.
Nobody's saying that Lacey's going to carry wins. I was just saying that they had a balance this year that they haven't seen in a long time. And maybe they can lean on stuff, and Seneca Wallace doesn't have to be Aaron Rodgers to win games. That's all I was saying.
But here's the thing, though.
So we don't have to keep talking about Lacey.
I want to know what his yards per carry is because, even the premise of them having a running game, it's not that accurate. He got 100 yards for the first time this season this past week, right?
No, now having a running game doesn't mean you get 100 yards.
I understand that. I understand that because he got about 40 carries the last couple of games. He got 30-something carries and whatever. But what I'm saying is...
He averages 4.4 yards a carry.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, he just pumped it up against the Bears then, because before that...
No, the Bears, he had 6.8 a carry against the Bears.
Yeah, he pumped it up against the Bears recently. Because I know that before this week, his yards per carry, it wasn't really... When you say that the team now has a running game, it takes the pressure off. It's not like he was just setting the world ablaze.
He had 3 games under 4 yards a carry.
I guess the only benefit for the Packers is that, I don't know if anybody really believes in the Bears or the Lions. They can easily be 2 and the Lions and the Bears can easily be 2-3 in their next 5 games as well. That wouldn't surprise me.
They all stink. That's true.
All right, well let's move on to our games of the week. We agree on several games this week, and there are a lot that we didn't agree on, but they'll be our picks will be in the dialogue box right under the screen. But we're going to do 3 games of the week. We're going to start with Denver versus San Diego. Jimmy's Denver Broncos. Let's start with Jimmy. Who you got with your team coming off by? Your Denver. Coach
Denver,
had a little procedure. So Jack Del Rio is going to be
John Fox. We're going to do this for John Fox.
No, I'm saying Jack Del Rio is going to
be
head coach. Okay, so you got Denver doing it for...
We're going to do this for John Fox. Plus, we're coming off a bye anyway. And, Manning doing nothing but studying.
So your team is going to be...
Yams.
Your team going to be John Strong this week?
John Strong.
And speaking of that, man, shout out to Gary Kubiak, too, man. Get well soon. He had a mini stroke.
Yeah, shout out to Gary Kubiak.
On the sideline.
You saved your job with that.
All right, so Justin, who you got, Denver or San Diego? He said he saved his job.
When Jack Del Rio wins this game, he's going to be 1-0 since leaving the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is, if he wins 2 in a row, he's won more than all of the Jaguars coaches combined. I'm taking Denver.
All right,
that's interesting way to look at it.
I'm going to take Denver as well. This bodes well for me fantasy-wise because I have Phillip Rivers, so he's going to be forced into a shootout, and I like it. Jim, who you got?
I think the Chargers are a lot better than people think, and this is a trap game all the way. And I think San Diego shocks everybody and gets the win.
I don't know, man. I think San Diego has the worst play calling I've ever seen, and I'm judging that on 3 plays against the Washington Redskins last week.
That was horrible.
Yes, that was terrible.
That was
Run
very
the
bad.
football.
You have 2 timeouts.
And you're on the
2
6-inch line, not even the
First
one.
and goal from the 6-inch
See how
line.
much
Not even
space
the
they
one.
got.
Not even the
Run
one.
the ball. Timeout. Run it again. Timeout.
But look
They
at
look at they look at Danny Woodhead and was like, "Oh hell no."
they run up the middle with Woodhead. Get Matthews in there.
They went shotgun.
Yeah.
3 plays in a row. They
Matthews
gave
would have
that
fumbled.
game away. They gave
Yo, I
it
think
away.
Danny Woodhead is a midget in like 26 states, and how you gonna run him up the middle?
That just shows you how much they think of Ryan Matthews.
Ryan Matthews would have fumbled the ball anyway.
But wait a minute. We're talking about Woodhead and Matthews. They have a 6'5" quarterback who could snap the ball and lean into the end zone.
Yeah, pull a Matthew Stafford.
Like that game, that situation alone, just all the confidence that I usually have in the San Diego Chargers, man, that with them.
Don't they have a good fullback too? They have like McLean, don't they?
The hell with
McLean
that.
at fullback. That's the one play the fullback always hopes for. Like, all right, we need like a foot, and I'm like
Frank,
6 foot,
the
300 pounds.
The Redskins scored 3 touchdowns off the fullback dive
Yeah.
in that very game. Take a
Exactly.
page from the other sideline and
It's
hand the ball
literally
to
the
your
only
fullback.
play for the fullback. It's what he lives for throughout his entire life. He's like the kicker on offense where he's just hoping for one play. Like, that's all he wants is the fullback dive.
Go ahead,
They
Fred.
can't even give it to him.
Brad, who's your pick?
I got one. Is Jack Del Rio really the head coach when we know Peyton Manning? Peyton Manning's gonna have a play sheet in the huddle. But no,
Peyton's not going to coach the defense.
Peyton.
He might.
No,
Why
Peyton.
not?
No, Peyton won't coach the defense. Jack Del Rio, you handle the defense. I got the offense. Don't even worry about it. I'll take your play sheet, by the way. But no, Peyton Manning is going to pretty much abuse this Chargers secondary. And if it comes down to a touchdown game, if it comes down to 6 points, you got to win one with 2 timeouts and 10 seconds left. We know who's going to win.
All right, Fred just skipped over the offensive coordinator. Frank, who you got?
Yeah, shout out to Jack Del Caldwell this week. And I got the Broncos. It would have been a lot more interesting if the Chargers won that game against the Redskins, but they didn't. So I definitely have the Broncos. There's no way Peyton Manning lets a division rival become a trap game.
Yo, they're all coming off a bye, man. It's not a trap game when you're coming off a bye.
Yeah.
B. Austin, San Diego Chargers or Peyton Manning?
I have Peyton Manning winning that, and I just like to say that what the San Diego Superchargers did against the Washington Redskins was deplorable. It was disrespectful to manhood. And Jim, I agree that they are better than people will give them credit for. But it's kind of like having a Navy SEAL trained to the teeth. He's killed everything, and then you call him, you have him jump out of the airplane to go rescue a cat. That's what happened against the Redskins.
All right, man. We're
Yo,
gonna
I don't
stay
even
right.
get that one.
We're gonna stay right here with B. Austin and see if we can get another
That
crazy
makes no
analogy.
sense.
What's your analogy for Carolina versus San Francisco?
2 black quarterbacks that run around. I think they both lose.
What's your beef with black quarterbacks, man?
They can't pass and they can't. They hold the ball too long. Uncle Ruckus with it.
B. Austin.
See the comments.
Uncle Rucker? Steve Young was black. Go ahead. Who's your pick?
No, I got the Panthers.
Killer Cam and the boys.
Yeah.
They've been looking pretty good lately. Frank, who you got?
This was really tough for me. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think the Panthers are a lot better than people think, but I think the 49ers are the best team in the league right now. So
No, you
I'm going
don't.
to take the Niners at home. I think B. Austin's been hanging out with Ricky Williams with all these kind of metaphor.
Yo, that made no sense at all. he on that loud, because that made no sense.
He said he jumped out the plane to rescue a cat. Fred, who you got? Fred?
No, rescuing cats is soft.
Wow. You could have at least done a dog,
It's a
man.
soft act.
You could have.
And what the
No,
Chargers
don't
did
try to
against
make
the
it make
Skins
sense.
was
It
soft.
doesn't, man.
You
Leave
can't
it
make that
alone.
up. You can't
It
fix
was
that.
soft.
You can't fix that.
I get you, man. They jumped
He's
off
like,
that
I'm
goal.
gonna remix it.
They jumped off the goal line to rescue that cat, man.
They trained
go.
a Navy SEAL and told him to rescue a cat.
Instead of just shooting up the place from the 6-inch line, they tried to rescue that cat.
Fred,
man.
You're supposed to
Oh,
kill
my God.
everything.
Oh,
What you got?
man.
Go ahead, Fred. Go ahead, Fred. What's your pick?
B. Austin gotta say, bro. I understand what's with the shades now. I understand now.
Yeah, exactly.
But seriously, the 49ers, they have one of the deepest teams in the league. They don't have a Colin Kaepernick. I'm still kind of on the fence with him. But when you have a running game and they've gotten back to what they have in that running game, they're just going to hit you in the mouth. And you get Mario Manningham back. Yes. You have so much talent. Jim Harbaugh's not going to lose this game off a bye as well. Frank Gore. He's on my fantasy team, so I'm hoping he's going to do pretty well.
Oh, here we go. Now we know why.
Now we know the intentions.
But Carolina, they're not as bad as I thought they were. Cam Newton's coming around a little. And this defense looks good, but I think Colin Kaepernick and this team, they just destroy these guys.
Yeah, I just want to add really quick, it would not surprise me if the Panthers won this game, but I think the Niners will.
Okay.
All right, Jim.
Both teams are on fire right now. Both teams are playing great defense right now.
Both teams play
It's
hard.
going to come down to the home field advantage. I think the Niners take a close one, but I wouldn't be shocked if Cam makes it a game and almost wins it.
Jimmy.
Yo, for me, I agree with what a little bit of what Fred said, even though he was being biased. Because if you look at the beginning of the season with the Niners, it's like they had their new toy in Colin Kaepernick, and they tried to let him loose and just throw the ball all over the place. And they finally realized after Seattle smacked them around that, listen, we got to get back to what we do. So they started running the football and playing smash mouth football for the last couple games, and they've gotten back to their winning ways. So I think that continues, and the Niners do win this game.
Right, and they've even stopped overthinking things lately, like Kendall Wright or whatever his name is down at the goal line. Kendall Hunter at the goal line. They're giving Gore the ball down here at the goal line, the middle of the field. Like, you don't overthink it. A lot of coaches overthink it. Let your workhorse work.
Yo, in the beginning of the season, they were just throwing the ball every down. It's like, look, we got Kaepernick. He in some McDonald's commercials. Yo, just go out there and throw the ball 60 times.
Yeah. Justin, who you got in this one?
I'm going to roll with the 49ers. I like the Panthers, but I just haven't seen them face a defense like the 49ers all year. So they might make it a close game, but I got to take 49ers.
They don't have Asamoah no more.
Yeah, and I agree with much of the panel. The 49ers they're strengthening. They're getting healthy. Like you said, Manningham, Wright's coming. Asamoah's gone. They'll have Crabtree back soon.
You get stronger by letting go of Asamoah. I know, they're getting stronger. Asamoah is gone.
Nobody's staring at Kerry Washington on the sidelines anymore.
Olivia Pope will fix this.
Yeah.
Probably. But, yeah, I'll go with the 49ers as well. Last game that we're going to do for the week, we just spoke about it a little bit earlier when we talked about Green Bay. This game has gotten a little bit bigger. Detroit and Chicago. Justin, I'll start with you. Detroit and Chicago.
Matt Stafford's going to throw for 600 yards.
Straight faced. He said that
too. That's possible.
Jimmy.
Yeah,
both defenses. Him. Which Jim?
Oh, I'm sorry. You said Jimmy or Jim?
I said Jimmy, but go ahead, Jim, if you already.
You might as well finish and go ahead, Jim.
Both defenses are awful, so you got to go with the better quarterback, not the backup. I think Detroit takes it.
Yeah, and for me, I'm also taking Detroit. I think Detroit's going to actually end up winning this division, only because Discount Double Check is no longer with us. So not that he's dead or anything, but
Well,
I'm taking Detroit.
Cutler actually is supposed to play this week.
I'm really taking Detroit.
He's supposed to come back a little bit earlier. I'm actually going to take the Bears because I look at Detroit as that type of team they're good most of the time. They're talented, but I think when the stuff really starts to hit the fan and they get into some must-win situations, that's where I think the Lions are going to choke. I'm going to go with Chicago this week.
If Cutler does play, I like the Lions by 2 touchdowns.
Fred, who you got?
And I gave you the Lions, but I gotta go with the Bears, man. If Cutler plays, like you said, the Lions are that team that they have the talent, they have the quarterback, but they always choke. And
they don't have the defense.
They don't have the defense. Yes, they don't have the defense, but they have you have the two essentials. You have the quarterback, and you have the star receiver that no one can cover. But that only lasts for so long. And when you have Julius Peppers coming after you, eventually he's going to get right. And if you have to put 11 guys on Calvin Johnson, I'm sorry, who else is going to get the ball? Who else is getting the ball?
Reggie Kardashian.
Who else is getting the ball? I got to take the Bears.
If you're making all those arguments, why'd you give us the Lions to begin with? Then?
Oh, yeah. I had a change of heart.
Damn, you had a real change of heart.
I had a change of heart.
He didn't believe him. He didn't believe him, McCown. Frank.
The best part of this game is going to be me refreshing my phone just to see how many yards Calvin Johnson has during each individual play. Like one player would be like, oh, he's got 20. Oh, he's got 60. Oh, he's got a touchdown. I got the Lions, man.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's going to be close. I think the Lions blow them out.
Calvin is going to murder, death, kill their defensive backfield.
Rest in peace, Peanut Tillman and the crew.
Peanut's going to be
consumer rape out there, Death.
It's going to be a bear funeral.
Put him in a body bag, yeah!
Sweet.
Sweep the leg, huh?
It's going to look like Texas Roadhouse. It's just going to be shellings all over the floor.
Wow.
Transformers, more than meets the eyes. My man is loaded up on Energon cubes. Yo, Galvatron is yo. I got my man Megatron.
All right, the leader of the Decepticons.
Coming out there like a Navy SEAL looking for cat.
All right, so that's our picks for the week. As you guys see, we went through a myriad of topics. Even though we really only had 2 to talk about, it always branches off into some other stuff. So, as usual, make sure you like the video, comment on the video, let us know what you think about these topics, Nick Foles versus Michael Vick, Aaron Rodgers in the NFC North without him being in it for a little while, and, give us some of your picks on these games that we picked today. So, Frank, anybody? Y'all want to let them know how to get in touch with Sports Kings and everything you guys are doing?
Yeah, all you got to do is hit sports-kings.com. Check out Justin on Down and Distance, where we're doing all NFL. And actually, shout out to PETA. Cut the check. We hate Michael Vick, and we're saving cats. So cut that check.
Don't forget the dash.
Yo, and word up, man. San Diego, man, stop using Navy SEALs to rescue cats, man. And y'all didn't even get the analogy because the Navy SEALs train in San Diego.
Stay off the cush, man.
Hey, man. Hey, Fred, let everybody know how they can get in touch with you at Heavy in the Games.
You guys can reach me at heavyinthegames.com as well as at Heavy in the Games on Twitter. And I got to say, I'm going to be at Miami, Virginia Tech, so make sure you hit me up because I will be talking Miami, Virginia Tech this Saturday.
Wow.
You be Austin, man. War Room Sports.
Yo, War Room Sports at War Room Sports on Twitter, at War Room Sports on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, your mom's bedroom, everywhere. WarRoomSports.com, War Room Sports TV.
So that's what it's called.
It's written on a little piece of paper in her nightstand.
So that's what it's called.
You can at me right there, by the way.
No doubt. So this has been another edition of Field Vision. All of these crazy guys down here. I'm Devin. Like we always say, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance.
See you chumps on top.
Eagles fans.
Day down, but I'm your mom's boyfriend.
Wait, it's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.